Garcia, and I'm here with another video. And yes, today I'm dropping gems. I'm dropping gems again today. You feel me? You see the title. Today we're going to talk about some tips and some advice that I got for you guys pertaining to when you apply to nursing school. I'm giving out some cheat codes, man. So we're going to get right into it. Tip number one is like and subscribe. For real though, like and subscribe. If you haven't, like and subscribe, alright? So I just want to throw it out there, as you guys know, because I've stated before. And if you don't know, go watch some of my last videos. Now, I did an accelerated BSN program, so I wasn't a traditional student that like went to college right after high school. I did my first degree in something else, and then went to school for nursing. So some of these tips are skewed towards that, but I mean, anybody can use the tips. Even if you're somebody coming out of high school and you want to go to college for nursing, traditionally, you can still use some of these tips, all right? So tip number one, first and foremost, is figure out if it's something that you want to do. And when I say something you want to do, obviously being a nurse. You know, a lot of people, they might feel like they might see it, especially now in 2020, where it's like being a nurse is glorified to the max, as it should be. It's not wrong, rightfully so. Being a nurse should be glorified, but you know, you see it, you see all the praise, and you're like, oh, I want to be a nurse. I feel like everyone should at least shadow one time, like go to like a local hospital or talk to one of your friends that you know is a nurse and just try to shadow and get an idea, see something that you want to do. Because if you don't like blood or something like that, or you can't stand like, you know, mucus or things of that nature, then being a nurse probably isn't for you. You could probably find, it's not impossible to find a place where you won't see that, but for the most part, if certain things like that you can't even stand, you can't even get past that, then maybe it's not the career for you, you understand? So first and foremost, try to figure out if nursing is something that you want to do. Tip number two is you have to assemble a calculated list. So I'm going to explain this with how I did it when I was applying to schools. I based it off basically 4 different points. So I based my list based off requirements, location, cost, and nclex passing rate. Alright, so basically requirements, what I did there is because, like I said, I was an accelerated BSN student. A lot of schools, they want different things. Like some want 6 prereqs, some want 3 prereqs. Some want GPA of 3.5, some say they want a GPA of 3.0, you know, and so on and so forth. So when I grouped based on requirements, because I wanted to assemble a group that had a common denominator of requirements. And let me explain that. Basically, if I had 4 schools that wanted the same thing for the most part, right? I wasn't, and let's say there was like a 5th school that I really wanted to go to, I wouldn't apply to that school if they wanted like 3 extra prereqs or maybe an extra recommendation or whatever. You understand? And the reason why I didn't do that is because I'm all about efficiency. Like, I'm all about time and doing things in an efficient manner. So I'm not gonna take 3 extra classes. Not only pay for 3 extra. I mean, my job was paying for it, but whatever. I'm not gonna spend the time to go take 3 extra classes just for one school, and they might not even accept me. It's not even a given. You feel me? You're gonna do all that work and you don't know if they're gonna accept you, when you could just try to find schools that are more or less have the same requirements. You understand? So if I had like a core 4 prereqs that I knew I was gonna take, I would apply to schools that had those 4 prereqs, and I would consider applying to another school if they had like 1 extra prereq, you know, but nothing more than that. I wasn't about to, you know, if I had my standard 4, my common denominator of 4 prereqs, I wasn't about to apply to any school that had 7 prereqs. No way. I'm not doing all that extra work for one school. And like I said, it's not guaranteed. That's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. Location, obviously, if you're somebody that doesn't want to move from home, then you shouldn't pick schools that's far away. Or if you're somebody who doesn't mind going anywhere, then hey, location doesn't matter to you. Cost, obviously, who wants to take out so much money in loans? If money is not a problem for you, then hey, apply anywhere. It's not for you. But for people who don't, you might want to consider applying to like maybe some state schools, or maybe go to the school that has the most financial aid for you, and they give you extra grants or scholarships. So that's cost. And NCLEX pass rate, that's very important. You don't want to go to a school that has like a I'll probably say anything less than maybe 95% nclex pass rate. Maybe I'll probably even say a little lower than that. Let's just say 94, 93. Less than 90%, I'm not really okay with, because it's just like, if all these people, let's just say 100 people were able to get through your program, 10 of them failed, or let's say, so I said less than 90. Let's just say 11 or 12 of them failed out of the 100. I don't really know how I feel about that. So 95 is a lot. Let's just say 90. 90% and above, I'm cool with. I don't know. You can do whatever you want to do. That's just me. I would like over 90. So those are my 4 points when it comes to like scheduling, not scheduling, when it comes to like putting together my list. Tip number 3 is to work for a hospital so you can gain experience, get some tuition reimbursement, and foster some relationships in order for you to get some great recommendations. This whole tip I did an entire video on, like literally. If I can figure it out, there should be a link somewhere up here. I'm gonna provide you with the link to that video so you can watch it if you haven't saw it already. But I basically laid the whole thing out. So basically, when you work for a hospital and you could acquire those 3 things, it's gonna make your application that much stronger. They're gonna see that you worked in a hospital already. If you become like a nursing assistant, you've worked in nursing, you're gonna be able to get some tuition reimbursement towards school, which is key. And then you're gonna be able to get some great recommendations from people that already work in healthcare of some sort of form. And it'll be better if it's like a nurse leader or a nurse director. So that's gonna give you a huge step up over somebody else who hasn't worked in a hospital at all. Not to say that it's gonna make you a shoo-in, but it is definitely a huge advantage. Tip number 4 is to kill your interview, like literally slay it. And if the school that you're applying to or you really want to go to doesn't have an interview, try to schedule a tour or try to schedule an appointment to like meet with somebody from nursing and then kill that. You understand? The reason why I say that is because when people could put a face to a name and attach a personality to a name, it kind of makes you a little bit more memorable, especially if you're somebody that you feel like you have like a great personality, like if you feel like you're somebody who's charming or you're very likable, you got to use that to your advantage. Like, you don't know who the person is going to be when you see them or what's going to happen. Like, for instance, when I had my interview for my school, I worked at a hospital already that was kind of in the area of the school. So when I went for my interview, I met up with one of the professors, we spoke, and then after she took me on the tour to, this is a true story, she took me on a tour to like see like the floor where all the nursing stuff was, like where they keep all the mannequins, where we have our classes, blah, 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 where the lab was, all that good stuff. So we started walking, we got to the floor, we walked around. This wasn't planned at all. I saw one of the MPs that worked at my hospital. Like, I worked night shift, she worked day shift, so I saw her in passing. So we didn't have like a great relationship, but we knew each other. So like I'm in my shirt and tie, like walking with the professor. She goes, "Hey, I know you." I said, "Hey, I know you too." She's like, "Oh," she said the name of the hospital. I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "How you doing?" And then like the professor that I was interviewing with was just like, and then she was telling her like, "Oh yeah, I know him from work. Like, he's great." Da 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 da. This was like God sent. Like, I swear that moment right there was what got me into the school. Like, I mean, my grades were solid, everything else was good, like whatever. I had good experience, but like the fact that one of the professors there, and I didn't even know she was a professor there. Like, it was like an adjunct situation. So like I saw her, I knew she was an MP, but I didn't know that she was adjunct at this school. I saw her, I feel like that made the hell of a difference. Like, she just saw me and was just vouching for me. I'm pretty sure after I left, after the whole interview was done, of course the professor went and spoke to her. She made it known like, "Oh yeah, that kid, I know him. He does great work at the hospital that we work at." And that probably just killed things for me. That probably just got me right through, right where I needed to be. You understand? So not to say that that's gonna happen for you, but like I said, you might be good at telling little jokes. You might be, like I said, you might have a great personality. You might be charming, and you might just stick to the person that you're interviewing, and they're gonna tell everybody, because that's the one thing about nursing. Whether it's nursing professors, whether it's nurses outpatient, whether it's nurses in clinic, whether it's whatever, a visiting nurse, nurses love to talk. I promise you, they love to talk. So if you go in there and you could like hit a home run in your interview, it's gonna help you a ton. All right, so my last point is you gotta get the grades. You know, That's the primary thing. Like the grades will automatically disqualify you sometimes if your grades are too low, and it'll keep you in the running if your grades are where they need to be. So get the grades, especially if you're somebody that's a second degree student and they want you to do the prereqs. You know, the microbiologies, the A&P ones and twos, intro to chem. Get good grades on all of them, all those classes. You know, try to get your B plus and up if you can. I'm pretty sure a lot of schools will take B. B minus is kind of where I'm just like, try to draw the line. You know, try not to get a B minus, but B and up, you should be fine. If you have a B and up in all your prereqs, you're a B plus student and up. You have a strong application. You have experience, good recs. You should be fine. But definitely getting the grades is it's a non-negotiable a lot of times for most schools. If you don't have the grade requirement, if you don't have the grades that they want for your prerequisites, they're not even gonna look at you. So get the grades. That's my advice and my tips for applying to nursing school. Apply those tips. I promise you, you're gonna be good. Money back guarantee. If you do everything I said and you don't get into any nursing school, you could message me personally. I'll see what I can do. I mean, probably can't do shit. I'll see what I can do. You understand? So basically, if you could do those things, you're gonna be good. So again, I'm gonna remind you guys, you know what you're supposed to do. You know, don't be bad. Like and subscribe. You understand? Like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. All right? Stay cool.